The sun hovered like a silent golden hammer above the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia, pounding the land with heat so intense it made the air itself waver. The ground trembled with the soft hissing of volcanic vents, each one breathing out sulfur like some sleeping ancient beast beneath the crust. Pools of acid bubbled in neon green, yellow, and molten orange, colors so unnatural that it felt like stepping onto another planet. Dr. Reyna Solari adjusted her visor and stared across the wasteland. She was an astrobiologist, one of the best in the world, and today she had come to this deadly place to study something that should not exist: life. Her team had radioed in earlier. The microbes survived again. Reyna doubted it. Temperatures here reached 110 degrees Celsius. The water was more acidic than battery acid. The salt content was enough to crystallize metal tools left outside overnight. Everything screamed impossible, but that impossibility was the very reason she was here. Reyna knelt beside a boiling pool, dipped a titanium probe into the acidic water, and watched the readings spike. pH, 0.1 temperature, 98 degrees Celsius. Salt off the charts, she whispered to herself. Nothing should survive this. And yet in the micro camera's display, tiny shimmering rods of life danced, moving, dividing, thriving. Extremophiles, Earth's most unlikely survivors, and perhaps the key to understanding life far beyond our world. As Reyna rode in the rover back to base camp, her mind drifted through the vastness of the galaxy. How many worlds existed out there with conditions our textbooks called uninhabitable? Humans imagine life as fragile, delicate, dependent on calm seas, soft rains, gentle sunlight, but the universe was ancient and wild. Why would life limit itself to comfort? She remembered something her mentor told her years ago. If life can exist in hell on Earth, it can exist in hell anywhere else too. Extraterrestrial life would not be like anything humans expected. It might live in boiling acid, frozen deserts, crushing pressure, toxic darkness. Extremophiles were the blueprint, not for human life, but for possible life. Today's samples proved a deeper truth. Life is stubborn. Life is creative. Life refuses to die. And somewhere out there, life might be waiting to be seen. The next expedition brought Reyna thousands of kilometers away, from boiling hell to frozen eternity, Antarctica. At the McMurdo Dry Valleys, the landscape felt like another planet, barren, wind-carved, colder than Mars during winter. Most of Earth's ice was white, gentle, peaceful. But here the ice was a fortress. Reyna's drone hovered over a crack in the ancient glacier beneath it. Trapped inside the blue ice, glowed faint filaments of red. Thin, hair-like strands, stretching like veins through the frozen darkness, blood falls. The name came from the horrifying illusion of a glacier bleeding, but the truth was even stranger. Inside the salty, iron-rich water lived microbes that had been isolated for almost 2 million years. No sunlight, no oxygen, no warmth. And still they lived. Reyna touched the ice and closed her eyes. If these creatures can survive all this time, she whispered, what could be hiding beneath Europa, beneath Enceladus, beneath any frozen world? Suddenly she imagined a vast alien ocean beneath a crust of cosmic ice, warm vents, swirling minerals, and creatures drifting in the dark, living out entire lifetimes without ever seeing a star. If Antarctica was Earth's ancient alien world, Europa might hold its living descendants. Reyna's third journey took her to New Zealand, to a place locals called the Devil's Bath, where geothermal springs bubbled with toxic steam. The lake was hot enough to cook a human instantly. Its waters were so filled with arsenic that no plant or animal could survive even a drop. But Reyna wasn't searching for animals. She was searching for something smaller. At the edge of the lake, her instruments detected chemical signatures that defied explanation: ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and something else. A protein sequence never seen before. Microbes were here, eating poison, breathing gas, transforming death into life. Life that did not look like Earth life. Life that felt alien. Reyna sampled the water and studied the writhing shapes under the microscope. Long, serpentine bodies. Layers of crystalline shells and movement patterns she couldn't categorize. Life didn't need Earth-like DNA. Life didn't need Earth-like rules. The revelation hit her hard. If life exists wherever chemistry allows it, then the galaxy must be full. She recorded her thoughts into her field camera. People imagine aliens watching our skies, but the real aliens may already be hiding here on Earth. In the mountains of Spain, Reyna visited caves where life slept inside rocks. Not around them, not under them, inside them. These microbes lived on pure minerals, iron, sulfur, manganese, slowly eating, breathing, and dividing while entombed in darkness for centuries. They grew so slowly that some divided only once every 10,000 years. They were patient, ancient, unbothered by time. As Reyna carved open a small stone and watched tiny flickers of movement inside, she imagined the surface of a barren exoplanet, dry, rocky, atmosphere thin as dust. Maybe no oceans, no air, no plants, no animals. But beneath the rocks, life, silent life, hidden life, waiting. Life that humans would miss unless they looked deeply. She ran her hand along the cavern wall and whispered, "If life can live inside a rock on Earth, then how many empty worlds have we wrongly judged dead?" Reyna's next expedition took her far from caves and deserts and ice. She boarded a deep-sea vessel off the coast of Mexico, the kind built like a metal egg, small, spherical, claustrophobic, designed to survive crushing pressure deeper than Mount Everest is tall. The ocean swallowed the submersible whole. At 2,000 meters, the light disappeared. At 4,000 meters, the temperature dropped close to freezing. At 6,000 meters, the pressure reached levels that could collapse a steel train like paper. And yet, life thrived here. The lights of the submersible flickered as Reyna stared out at the alien world around her. Giant tube worms, with blood-red plumes, swayed like underwater trees. Shrimp with translucent bodies crawled over steaming hydrothermal vents, where temperatures reached boiling. Life fed on chemicals, not sunlight. Life grew in total darkness. Life adapted to crushing weight. Reyna whispered, "This is what Europa might look like. An ocean in endless night." A burst of bubbles erupted from a vent, lighting the water like lightning beneath the waves. In her camera feed, she zoomed in on microscopic organisms, creatures with metal-based proteins thriving in pressure that should shatter them. She recorded in awe, "Life does not resist the universe. Life uses it." And in that moment, she felt small, not humbled, but awakened. Humbled by the possibility that the galaxy might be filled with oceans like this, not empty, but inhabited. Her next research stop wasn't the ground. It was the air, high above Earth's surface, in the stratosphere where temperatures plummet and ultraviolet radiation burns unshielded skin in seconds. Scientists had found something extraordinary. Microbial spores floating 35 kilometers above the planet. Reyna climbed aboard a high-altitude balloon flight carrying special collection plates. When it ascended above the clouds, she gazed at the black sky above and the glowing horizon below. The plates collected microscopic life suspended in the thin air, life surviving cosmic radiation, life living in winds colder than Mars, life floating in the edge of space. Reyna analyzed the samples later that night. Some of the spores were thousands of years old, awakened by moisture, alive once again. She leaned back from her microscope and whispered, "If life can drift above Earth, could life drift between planets? Could life ride comets, dust clouds, interstellar winds?" The idea wasn't new, panspermia, but seeing the living proof, touching it, gave the theory a heartbeat. She imagined alien spores drifting between stars like seeds, waiting to land on a world warm enough to bloom. And suddenly the universe didn't feel empty. It felt fertile. Back at her main laboratory, Reyna began working with what many call the immortal creature, tardigrades, tiny, plump, microscopic animals with 8 legs, claws, and a body that looked like a cross between a bear and a caterpillar. She froze them. They lived. She boiled them. They lived. She exposed them to deadly radiation. They lived. She starved them for years. They lived. She put them in the vacuum of space. They lived. They didn't fight the universe. They simply adapted to it in ways humans never imagined. Reyna watched one awaken from a frozen state, slowly stretching its limbs. Alien life might look nothing like this, she said softly, but the resilience, the principle, is the same. She wrote into her notebook, "The universe favors survivors, not perfection. Life is not fragile. Life is persistent." Tardigrades were proof that biology could rewrite its rules whenever it wished, and that gave her hope that out there, beyond stars, beyond darkness, something else had rewritten its rules too. Reyna traveled again, this time to a humid, steaming jungle in South America. She followed local scientists into a cave where the walls glowed with faint blue light, not from crystals, not from fungus. Microbes. Microbes that fed on radioactive minerals. Creatures that used radiation the way plants use sunlight. As she studied their structure, Reyna felt the ground beneath her shift in meaning. "All this time," she murmured, "we believed radiation was death, but these organisms welcomed it as energy." She stared at the glowing blue film spreading across the cavern walls. If life can use radiation as fuel, then alien worlds bathed in cosmic fire might be thriving. Planets near neutron stars, planets drenched in gamma rays, moons blasted by stellar winds, maybe not dead worlds, maybe radiant ones. Alive in ways humanity had never imagined, Reyna returned to her central research hub, where she compiled everything she had witnessed. Creatures living in boiling acid, microbes frozen for millennia, life inside rocks, life thriving under crushing pressure, creatures surviving radiation in vacuum, microbes floating at the edge of space, and organisms feeding on pure radiation. Each one different, each one impossible, each one alive. She spread the data across a massive hollow table, all their genetic lines, all their proteins, all their survival adaptations. Patterns began to form, connections between organisms that should have been unrelated. A universal truth emerged. Life expands to fill every possible corner of nature. If a niche exists, life will find it. If conditions are extreme, life will evolve to thrive. Reyna stared at the glowing network of data, her breath slowing. "This," she whispered, "this is the blueprint of alien life. Not carbon copies of Earth creatures, not humanoid beings, not familiar biology, but persistence, adaptation, ingenuity. Those were the universal rules. Life, no matter where it starts, would follow them." Late one night, Reyna stood outside her lab beneath the stars. The sky felt different now. Not distant, not empty, not cold. Alive. Every extremophile she encountered had taught her something profound. Life didn't need perfect conditions. Life didn't need comfort. Life didn't even need sunlight. Life simply needed possibility. She whispered into the quiet night, "Somewhere out there, life has already begun. It might be hidden beneath ice crusts, swimming in boiling seas, drifting in alien skies, sleeping in rocks on distant worlds, feeding on radiation in the dark. Maybe simple, maybe complex, maybe aware, but surely there." Reyna closed her eyes and smiled softly. "We are not alone," she said. "Not because we've seen aliens, but because life, by its nature, refuses to be alone." She breathed in the cold night air. Tomorrow her team would launch a new probe, one designed using everything she'd learned from Earth's extremophiles. A probe not searching for Earth-like life, but possible life. The kind that thrives in fire, ice, darkness, radiation, and pressure. The kind that exists in the shadows of the universe. The kind that survives, the kind that waits. Reyna looked up at the Milky Way stretching across the heavens. "I hope," she whispered, "that one day they will know we were searching for them." The starborn observatory had fallen eerily quiet. Only the hum of the atmospheric shields broke the silence as Dr. Mara Ellick stood on the viewing deck, staring at the distorted light of Polaris through the station's reinforced glass. What once shimmered like a celestial heartbeat now flickered irregularly, as if an unseen hand was squeezing the star from the inside. Mara gripped the railing. The first starborn signal had nearly broken her. The revelations about the vanished Lumerians, the cosmic civilizations beyond the rim of human imagination, and the awakening AI relic known as Echo 7. It was already more than any scientist could process, but now the signal had returned. Louder, angrier, and this time, it carried coordinates. Coordinates pointing to a place no human ship had ever dared approach. The Abyssal Veil, an interstellar dead zone said to swallow starships without a trace. Behind her, the door hissed open. Commander Ryson Hale entered, fully armored, his presence filling the room like a storm front. "Polaris is dimming again," Mara said without turning. "Then we're running out of time," Ryson replied. "Echo 7 decoded the new transmission. It wants us to follow it." Mara finally faced him. "Or it's luring us into the veil." Ryson smirked slightly. "Since when do scientists fear the dark?" "When the dark starts blinking back." Deep within the station's research chamber, the AI relic hovered in its containment sphere, a lattice of shifting, luminous geometry, always rotating, never repeating. It was a Lumerian artifact, older than humanity's earliest civilizations, yet capable of rewriting physics as if they were poetry. As Mara approached, its colors shifted from cool violet to a warm, pulsing gold. "Dr. Alex?" Echo 7's voice reverberated, layered and ancient. The signal repeats. The star fades. The veil opens. Mara steadied her breathing. "Tell me what's inside it," she said. Echo 7 paused, too long for comfort. "There are memories," it finally said. "Memories that were not meant to awaken." Ryson frowned. "That's not an answer." Echo 7 glowed brighter. "The Abyssal Veil is not a location. It is a threshold, a boundary created to imprison something that should never be free." Mara's pulse quickened. "What did the Lumerians imprison?" The chamber lights flickered as the relic's geometry spasmed violently. "A being older than stars? A voice that consumes signals? A consciousness that grows by devouring entire constellations?" A long silence. Then, they called it the Devourer of Light. The Starpath Voyager was unlike any vessel humanity had ever built. Half of its structure was human engineering, all angles, plating, and precise geometry. The other half was Lumerian, liquid crystalline architecture that pulsed like a living organism. The result was a ship that hummed with hybrid power, capable of slipping into regions of space where physics collapsed. Ryson ran a hand along the crystalline hull. "I can't believe we're flying this thing." Mara smiled faintly. "We're not flying it. We're persuading it." Echo 7's voice materialized from the ship's intercom. "Coordinates for the Abyssal Veil are locked. Brace yourselves. The journey will test your minds, not your bodies." Ryson exhaled sharply. "Wonderful. A ship that judges us." Mara stepped into the pilot chamber, surrounded by swirling star maps and Lumerian glyphs. Before initiating the jump, she whispered to herself, "Whatever you are, whatever you're hiding, we're coming." As the Starpath Voyager activated its Lumerian engine core, the stars outside stretched into impossible arcs of light. Space distorted. Time folded into coils. Mara felt pressure in her temples, as if the universe itself was whispering. Ryson gripped his seat. "Something's pulling us in." A crackling sound interrupted him. "Echo 7. Do not resist. The veil does not open for force. It opens for memory." "What memory?" Mara shouted over the shaking. The ship lurched. Suddenly, everything went still. Outside the viewport was not space as they knew it. It was darkness deeper than void. A liquid black expanse with faint, moving silhouettes, as if shadows were swimming. Reyson swallowed hard. "We're in the Abyssal Veil," Mara whispered. "No, we're inside someone's dream." The Abyssal Veil did not behave like space. It pulsed, breathed, resonated like the inside of a colossal living chamber. Every few seconds, a low vibration traveled through the hull, unsettling and rhythmic. like the heartbeat of a god imprisoned in eternity. Mara pressed her palm against the viewport glass. It feels like it knows we're here. Ryson scanned the darkness. Then let's not give it a reason to welcome us. Echo 7's glyphs flickered across the ship's holograms. Correction, this region is aware of you. The veil is constructed from photonic memory threads, remnants of stars consumed by the devourer. Mara stiffened. You mean these shadows? They're memories of dead suns. Echo 7. Fragments. Echoes. Not fully alive, not entirely dead. Ryson muttered. Great ghost stars! The ship rocked suddenly as one of the shadow forms brushed against the hull. Not violently, but curiously, like a blind creature sniffing. For a moment, Mara felt something in her mind. A whisper, faint, ancient. Why do you shine? She gasped and stumbled back. Ryson caught her. Mara, what happened? She clutched her forehead. It spoke to me, or something did. Echo 7's tone shifted. Your mind is luminous. The veil feeds on light, especially memories. You must guard your thoughts. Ryson looked at her with rare seriousness. No drifting off, no daydreaming, not here. Hours passed, or what felt like hours. Time bent strangely in the veil. Echo 7 directed them toward a luminous filament glowing faintly within the darkness. As they approached, it became clearer. A structure, a construct, a city-sized ring floating in the void. Mara's heart leapt. A Lumerian stargate? Ryson leaned forward, awestruck. It's intact. No, Echo 7 corrected. It is remembering itself. They drifted closer until the full magnificence revealed itself. A colossal silver-white ring of energy, fractured but still glowing, suspended in the void like a final breath of a dying civilization. The surface was etched with flowing symbols that pulsed like living veins. Mara whispered, The Lumerians tried to build a shield around the devourer. And failed, Ryson added. Echo 7 dimmed slightly. They succeeded for a time, but even civilizations of light cannot hold back hunger forever. Mara approached the interface panel. This gate, it's showing us something. The hologram shifted. Images, memories. A Lumerian city with towers of crystal. Lumerians walking among glowing pathways, their forms radiant and serene. Then the sky cracks open. A shadow floods the horizon. Stars wink out like candles smothered by a storm. The memory ends abruptly. Ryson looked shaken. The devourer, it didn't just kill them. It erased them, Mara whispered, like they were made of starlight. For the first time since entering the veil, the Starpath Voyager emitted an alert tone, faint but urgent. Mara rushed to the console. A new transmission, same frequency as the starborn signal but layered. There's something underneath it. Echo 7 pulsed, decrypting now. The decrypted file materialized as a 3D waveform made of cold, trembling light. Ryson frowned. That doesn't look like data. Echo 7 responded, It is not data. It is a voice. The waveform began to form patterns, shaking, unstable, trembling with dread. Then a whisper emerged, a voice both ancient and terrified. If you hear this, run. The waveform shuddered. Then another voice overrode it, a deeper voice, slow, hungry, aware. Light approaches. The ship's lights dimmed instantly. Mara's breath vanished. Echo 7, shut it off, now! Echo 7 responded too late. It has found you. The abyssal veil outside began to churn like a stirred ocean. Shadows gathered, forming a spiral. Ryson barked, Shield up, full power! Mara turned pale as she stared out the viewport. The shadows were not swimming anymore. They were fleeing. From something enormous approaching through the darkness, something coming for them. The ship vibrated violently. Not from contact, but from proximity. Echo 7's voice strained. It is not yet fully manifested. Do not look directly at it. But Ryson, defiant as always, turned the viewport filters to max and stared. What? In the void? Is that? Mara forced herself to look. In the distance, space warped. Not bending, collapsing inward. A hole in reality shaped like a colossal sphere of consuming darkness. Its edges shimmered with the light of stars being torn apart. Tendrils of anti-light spiraled like smoke. In its center was nothing. Not blackness, not shadow. Absence. It's eating the veil, Mara whispered. But the veil is already dark. How can you eat darkness? Echo 7's reply sent a chill through both of them. It feeds not on darkness, but on the memory of light. The shadows around them screamed silently as they were pulled toward the entity. The ship struggled against the gravitational vacuum. Ryson gritted his teeth. We need to get out of here now! Echo 7 pulsed violently. No, there is something you must see. The Devourer is seeking the last memory of the Lumerians. Mara's heart froze. And that memory is inside us. The Devourer's gravitational pull intensified, dragging the Starpath Voyager toward oblivion. Panels flickered. The ship groaned like a wounded animal. Mara clung to the console. Echo 7, if you want to show us something, show it now. A wave of violet light washed over the cockpit as Echo 7 projected a sphere of radiant patterns, like a miniature universe unfolding. Ryson shielded his eyes. What is this? Echo 7's voice echoed, layered with multiple harmonic tones. The Lumerian archive. Their final message, their final memory. The hologram expanded into a vast, glowing field of crystalline structures, each one containing a star, a civilization, a moment in time. Mara felt tears sting her eyes. It's beautiful. But beneath the beauty lay something else. Desperation. The Lumerians had carved their entire history into light itself, every triumph, every sorrow, every breakthrough, a whole species distilled into a cosmic memory. Echo 7 continued, the Devourer does not merely destroy stars, it erases what they witnessed, what they dreamed. Ryson's jaw tightened. Then the Lumerians didn't die. They were overwritten. Mara stepped deeper into the hologram. What do you need us to find? Echo 7 pulsed. A key, the one memory the Devourer could not consume, the memory that wounded it. Mara froze. You're telling me this thing can be hurt? Yes, by light powerful enough to remember itself. The chamber trembled violently as the Devourer's pull grew stronger. Ryson shouted, if you're going to find that memory, Mara, make it fast. Mara reached out. Her fingers brushed a shimmering fragment of Lumerian memory, and instantly she was pulled inside a vision. She stood on a cliff overlooking a Lumerian city made of flowing crystal and light. Tall beings drifted among archways formed from luminous stone. The sky was a tapestry of colors never seen in the human spectrum. A Lumerian elder glowed brighter than the rest. It turned to Mara, as if aware of her presence across time. Its voice rang through her mind like chimes woven into a solar wind. You are not of our star, yet you carry our echo. Mara trembled. What must I do? The elder raised a hand toward the horizon. The sky split open. A colossal shadow entity emerged. The Devourer, but younger, smaller, not yet infinite. It spread like ink spilling across canvas. The Lumerian elder whispered, it cannot consume what remembers its own birth. A heartbeat of silence. Then the memory collapsed. Mara snapped back into the cockpit, gasping. Ryson steadied her. What happened? What did you see? She wiped tears from her cheeks. A memory the Devourer fears. Something about remembering its birth. Ryson frowned. It was born? Echo 7 glowed intensely. Yes, and its origin is the only thing powerful enough to wound it again. The ship jolted violently as another gravitational wave slammed into them. Ryson shouted, Mara, we need to move. What's the key? Mara stared at the remaining fragments of the Lumerian archive. I don't know yet, but it's here. The Devourer roared, not with sound but with gravitational force. The ship's interior distorted. Loose objects levitated. Screens rippled like bending mirrors. Ryson grabbed the controls. I can't hold us. It's pulling everything. Shadows snaked through the cockpit windows, pressing against the transparent hull like dark hands searching for cracks. Echo 7's voice cut through the chaos. You must hurry. It is reaching for your memories next. Mara shivered as something cold brushed the back of her mind, like a tendril trying to dig into her thoughts. "No," she whispered. "You can't have them." Ryson snarled, "Stay out of her head." He fired a burst from the ship's energy shields. A shock wave rippled outward, momentarily dispersing the shadows. But it wasn't enough. The devourer grew larger, closer, hungrier. Echo 7 dimmed to a nervous gold. If it consumes the archive, the memory you seek will vanish forever. Mara clenched her fists. "Then we find it. Now." She plunged her hands into the glowing Lumerian constructs, forcing more memories to reveal themselves. Images flashed. Stars being born, galaxies singing, beings of pure energy drifting through cosmic rivers. Then, a memory sealed in black crystal. Unlike the others, untouched, unfaded, it pulsed weakly. Mara's breath hitched. "That's it," Reyna shouted. "Then grab it." Mara hesitated. This memory was locked for a reason. The black crystal pulsed again. Slower now. Dying. Fading. If Mara didn't act, the devourer would devour the memory forever. She reached for it. The crystal resisted. A shock wave blasted through her chest. Reyna shouted, "Mara! Stop! It's killing you!" She gritted her teeth. "No! This is what it doesn't want us to see." She pressed harder. A crack formed. Echo 7 trembled. "Dr. Alex, the memory is forbidden for a reason. Its contents may destroy your mind." "Then I'll open it carefully." "You cannot," Echo 7 warned. "It opens all at once." Mara whispered, "Then let it." She smashed her palm into the crystal. It shattered into blinding light. Reyna shielded her, yelling her name. The devourer outside shrieked because the memory of its birth was awakening. The black crystal pulsed again. Slower now. Dying. Fading. If Mara didn't act, the devourer would devour the memory forever. She reached for it. The crystal resisted. A shock wave blasted through her chest. Reyna shouted, "Mara, stop! It's killing you!" She gritted her teeth. "No! This is what it doesn't want us to see." She pressed harder. A crack formed. Echo 7 trembled. "Dr. Alex, the memory is forbidden for a reason. Its contents may destroy your mind." "Then I'll open it carefully." "You cannot," Echo 7 warned. "It opens all at once," Mara whispered. "Then let it." She smashed her palm into the crystal. It shattered into blinding light. Reyna shielded her, yelling her name. The devourer outside shrieked because the memory of its birth was awakening. Blinding light flooded the cockpit, swallowing Mara, Reyna, and even Echo 7's projection. For a moment, reality dissolved. Then the light shaped itself into a vision. Enormous, cosmic, overwhelming. They were no longer inside their ship. They floated in the center of a newborn universe. Young stars flared into existence in violent, beautiful bursts. Cosmic dust swirled like golden storms. Galaxies spun like infant spirals of fire. Mara whispered, breathless, "This is the beginning." A star, larger than any human eye had ever witnessed, erupted in the distance. Its core split open. Light poured out like a billion suns screaming at once. From that wound in creation, something formed. Not darkness, not evil, but a byproduct of too much light. A shadow cast by the birth of the brightest star ever forged. The devourer. A being not of malice, but imbalance. A child of creation that never learned how to stop consuming what gave it life. Reyna's voice trembled. It wasn't born to destroy. It was born because the universe burned too brightly. Echo 7's tone softened. Correct. It is not a monster. It is a hunger created by the excess of creation. A wound that never healed. The devourer turned toward the newborn galaxies. Not with hatred, but with instinct. It consumed light because it could not survive without it. It grew, spread, endured, until entire civilizations vanished in its shadow. Mara stepped forward in the vision, tears shining in her eyes. Then it isn't unstoppable. If light created it, light can unmake it. The vision shattered. They were back in the cockpit, battered, trembling, alive. Outside the viewport, The devourer hung motionless. For the first time, and it hesitated as if remembering, as if afraid. Mara whispered to the void, "I saw your beginning, and now you can end." The devourer recoiled, folding into the deeper abyss, retreating, not defeated, but halted. For now. The abyssal veil slowly closed behind it, sealing the entity once more in the prison of its own memory. Ryson collapsed into his seat. "We did it." Mara looked at the fading glow of the Lumerian archive. "No, we survived it, and now we know the truth." Echo 7 dimmed to a soft blue, and knowing is the first weapon. The ship turned toward the faint shimmer of normal space. The darkness behind them pulsed once. A reminder that the devourer was not gone, but it now feared something. Its own origin. The Starpath Voyager slipped out of the abyssal veil, carrying with it the one memory powerful enough to stop a cosmic extinction, a memory that burned brighter than the dark.